there was a lot of people sign up for this webinar. So I know you guys are just dying to learn how to talk to Gen Z. So why not call in the experts? Me and Ashley.
Because we are both Gen Zs, clearly.
We're both Gen Z experts, if you didn't know. Ashley, I know you are this is your first time doing a webinar with us, right?
It is.
Awesome.
I'm honored.
Well, I am grateful to have you. I met Ashley, it had to have been last year at a conference this past year. And so I keep seeing her all over the conference circuit. We get along well. She is so much fun. We both have dogs that we love and dress up in clothes. So I'm going to let Ashley introduce herself. She works for Sienna. So tell our community who you are before we jump in.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jen. And seriously, thank you again for the invite to join. I'm excited to be on here, and it has been so wonderful getting to go to conferences with you and learn more about Beauty School Directory too. So I'm excited, but I am with Sienna Education Services. So Sienna does three main services. We do consulting. So we help schools as they go through licensing, accreditation, reaccreditation, anything like that. We do curriculum development. And then lastly, we have a platform called Edlumina, and that is a CRM and an SIS. So that is mostly kind of what's going to tie in today, is a little bit of the Edlumina platform and using a platform to communicate with your Gen Zs.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of customers ourselves, a lot of members who use Edlumina and also use other CRMs out there. This isn't going to be a full CRM demo, you guys. We have a lot of Gen Z stats built into this. We're going to be giving great outreach strategies. So whether you use them or a different CRM, this is going to tie in perfectly. So hopefully you guys get some great takeaways. At the end, if you've been on our webinars, we love to leave time for Q&As. So we're going to have you type things in the chat. But before we get into it, I want to get everyone feeling Gen Z-ish. We're going to have a little fun quiz. So I want everyone to click at the bottom of their screen, click chat, because what we want to do is we want to see who here knows the Gen Z lingo. Okay, so we're going to play a fun game. We have a few Gen Z lingo words up here. What is fam? Type it in the chat if you know what fam is. Family, yes. Okay. So, and I love that some people said friends, because that's what Gen Z says, right? They refer to their friends as fam, and I think it's great. We got cap, and I'm going to put this one here. No cap.
I did not know what this was.
Right. And I'm shocked. I am shocked. Lies. You guys are good. Yeah. Rhonda, no idea.
Same girl.
So cap means a lie, and then no cap means you're being truthful or authentic. So sometimes someone will say something and they'll be like, no cap, just to reiterate that they're telling the truth. Love it. Okay, I did not know this. Don't Google it or you're cheating. No Googling. TFW? Okay, the chat has stopped. Thank you. It is not the final word. TFW is that feeling when. TFW, that feeling when you get off on a Friday at 5 p.m. That feeling when you have brunch with your friends on a Saturday, whatever. I've never even heard of this. Yeah. But for the record, Ashley, you asked your sister, right? Your younger sister?
I did. Yeah. She's 10 years younger. So I felt like last night I was looking at this stuff. I'm like, I need to phone a friend.
And she knew all of them.
She knew all of them and even had some others to add. I'm like, okay, got to get with it.
I love it. Sip tea. Yeah, it's that you're listening to the gossip, right? Because if you're spilling the tea, you're telling the gossip. But if you're sipping, you're Samantha goes piping hot. Who watches Selling Sunset? Because that one is always about the piping hot tea. I'm going to have a lot of fun on this webinar. I can already tell. I did not know this one, and neither did Ashley. Take several seats. What? What is that? I literally never heard of this. Get out of here. It means if someone's really getting on your nerves, you might tell them to take several seats.
What? Yeah, like you need to calm down.
Like you need to calm down. You take several seats. So if someone's getting worked up, I'm using this one. Bet my husband, who's 45, said this the other day, and I said, no, sir, you sit down.
Take several seats.
Yeah, exactly. You take several seats. Yeah, it means yes, it confirms something. Bet. Main character. Jen Miles has main character energy.
Okay.
Center of attention. Pretty much. Yeah. It's someone who's well liked and charismatic. Someone walks into a room and you say like they have main character energy, like Rhonda with FAS. She has main character energy to me. If something or someone is sus, I hear this all the time. Surely you use this, Ashley.
Yes, I'm aware of sus.
I'm aware of sus.
Oh,
I do more. I'm dead or deceased. I feel like I say this a little too often.
Yeah.
Or like dying. I'm dying of laughter. Yes, good one. Okay, and the last one, Ashley, straight from your little sister, Grace.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I gotta move it. Yeah.
There it is.
Something slaps.
It's cool. It's good. Yeah. I tested it out this morning on her and I did not get a reply. So I'm not falling in the cool category yet.
This is great. Okay, well, thank you all for attending today. There's our webinar. I love this because I really just want us all to, again, sort of get in the mood for Gen Z, quick facts and talks. Who is Gen Z? They're born between 97 and 2012. So Gen Z today is about 10 to 25 years old. It's a pretty big range, but it's the generation directly after millennials. So I'm a millennial. Ashley's a millennial. I'm on the older spectrum. She's on the younger spectrum, but that's generally how generations work, is there's about 15 years between them. Prior to millennials, it was Gen Y. And then before that, we have the baby boomers. So right now we get lots of people are in this category. It's the #1 generation right now in America. These people, you guys, are raised on the internet. They're raised on social media. They don't remember a time without phones. Ashley, what else? Tell us some more stats about Gen Z.
They use TikTok more than Instagram, which is interesting and very more Gen Z than millennial, I think.
Yes.
And the average Gen Z got their first smartphone just before their 12th birthday. And I will say it's funny. I got my first smartphone or not even smartphone. I got my first flip phone in high school, and my little sister definitely got hers before her 12th birthday. So it's just funny how things change with
in a very short period of time.
Yes.
You know what I heard today, Ashley? Instagram is now testing a feature where you can go to your profile and have a song playing.
Oh.
Do you know what this is? Who remembers? I bet Ashley's too young. I bet she didn't have one.
Is this a MySpace thing?
Yes, it's a MySpace.
Okay.
Did you have MySpace?
I think I had an account for a total of like a week and was like, this isn't cool.
MySpace was my jam. Because you could have a top 8. You could rank your friends, like it'd be all your friends, but then you could have a top 8. And every day you would be like, I wonder if I'm on her top 8. Or like if a guy liked you, you'd be like, I wonder if I made his top 8. Oh, it was everything. So yeah. Alexis says it ruined a lot of friendships. I love it.
Well,
I love this too.
Snapchat used to show you your top friends. That ruined a lot of relationships too.
My goal was to be on everyone's top 8, but them not be on mine. Like that was goals right there. And I love that this chat is all millennials. And again, this is for Gen Z, so we need to get going, but I'm loving that we all understand each other, and which is why we probably killed admissions the past 15 years, because we knew how to enroll people who were like us. But now, oh my gosh, now we're enrolling a completely new generation, and we need to learn how to talk to these kids. So Ashley, let me ask you, why should schools even care? Why should they care that there's a new generation coming?
That's a great question. So obviously right now we're still enrolling more millennials than Gen Z, but I will tell you the conversation is starting with Gen Zs at a very young age. So actually I was just on the other day talking to another school owner, and we were just having that conversation of how they use the messaging and all of those different things. And she made a really good point. She's like, especially in the cosmetology space, she is starting conversations with a lot of young people when they're maybe 12 years old, because they just have this interest and that is what they want. That's where they want to go. And they already know that this is the career path they want to take. And so they're starting those conversations with Gen Zs. And so having those conversations earlier and earlier with technology and smartphones and things like that, it definitely does warrant people being very aware of how you are communicating, because yes, your enrollments might be millennials right now and trending more toward Gen Z, but who you're talking to and who you're setting your future up for is really Gen Zs.
And I feel like beauty schools are just behind the mark in general on higher ed. Like you and I both have gone to lots of higher ed conferences. We've sat in classes with, presidents at bigger multi-campus schools. And y'all, these schools were doing online enrollment portals way before beauty schools even thought about doing it. Like they were setting up journeys for nurturing way before beauty schools did. And the fact is, if community colleges know how to reach out to your leads and you don't, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I really think it's important that beauty schools get ahead on these trends and really understand how to speak the language. And now is the time. Now is the time to start shifting some things, because I feel like we've been doing things the same way for so long, right? So now is the time to change our admission strategies or change our CRM that has some of these new features that our old one doesn't. Ashley, do you see that a lot?
Absolutely. Just in general too, it is always a little bit amazing how you talk to schools and they aren't using automations and things like that. And I mean, I know we're going to touch on a lot of this later, so I won't get too in the weeds on it. But I mean, I know one of the things, especially with Gen Zs, is the instant gratification. And so just being able to communicate quickly and effectively as people are reaching out is so important, and speaking their language and communicating with them in a way that they want to engage with you. So yes, having those modern day practices that are really speaking to your audience is huge. It's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about how these Gen Zers want to be educated, because I think right now we are forgetting that even though Gen Z is young, they are thinking about college, or they're in college right now. Like everyone who graduated high school last year and chose to go to a college, I mean, that's Gen Z. So let's think about this for a second. So according to the Pew Research Center, Gen Z, they take their education extremely seriously. And according to a 2020 report, they are less likely to drop out of high school and more likely to be enrolled in college compared to any prior generation. That's a huge stat for us, because I don't know. I feel like I keep hearing about Gen Z. They want to be entrepreneurs. They're not really thinking about college. The stats are showing that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I find that very interesting too, because you definitely do see a lot of people going the route of entrepreneurship, but you are so right. It's very interesting to see the stats, but it also does make you wonder too, because so many millennials, I think, were pushed toward college and going that path, if that is playing that influence on Gen Zs and them wanting to continue to go that direction. It is
I
very
agree. Yeah. A couple more stats for you guys. 80% of high school students believe that they're more driven than their peers. And 77% of Gen Z expect to work harder to achieve success compared to previous generations. So not only are they educated, but they're narcissists. They think they're smarter than us. They think they're the hardest working kids in class. Whatever. No, I think that's interesting info to know about this generation. I love this stat. So, oh wait, I already went through that one. This one, check out this stat. 50% of Gen Z, they're open to the idea of undertaking something other than a four-year college. This is such great news for us, right? Because even you're a younger millennial. What kind of pressure, Ashley, did you even feel like when you were in high school to go to a four-year school?
I mean, to be honest with you, it didn't even feel like there was another option. I mean, that was just like the pressure that was put on us. And it's actually really funny too, because, it's a little different because of where I am in my community, but we actually have a major company coming in that's going to require more people going into the trades than a 4-year college. So it has been very interesting within our own community because we have this big push of getting younger generations now to go more to the trades instead of a 4-year college. So it's very interesting just knowing that they're open-minded to that in general, especially knowing what we have going on here locally. But no, it felt like, I know for people my age, like it very much was, you're going to a 4-year college and that's what you're going to do. But I also coached cheerleading last year at the local high school. And it was interesting because I did have 2 girls that did go to a cosmetology school. So it was just very neat to see that though, because I was like, good for you guys. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot of people even consider the other option. So I was impressed and thought that
Or
that was
you
awesome.
were embarrassed, right? Like if you were the kid that wasn't going to 4-year school, you were quiet about it because you felt dumb or like people would make fun of you. And that is, I love that the narrative has changed. And that's something I think really that we need to understand about Gen Z. I know when I was a marketing director for a beauty school, a lot of the collateral we built in campaigns were around making millennials feel empowered about this decision. And like, we know your parents think this is a bad idea, but you do you. I just feel like that isn't the narrative as much anymore. And that's a really, really good thing.
I agree with you. And also, I think it's just interesting as well, because reading the stats earlier, how they are such achievers. I think knowing like, okay, you do this career path and you are going to be making money often so much sooner than someone else going through a 4-year, college. So it's just interesting making sure that you're showing the achieving part for Gen Zs.
Yes,
I think
absolutely. So it's specific to Gen Z. And because this is a beauty school webinar, not only is it great that they are open to this, but 76% of Gen Z wants a job to be a hobby. What a great time to be alive. I mean, I sure would hate to be, I don't know, I would hate to be doing marketing for an accounting school right now. Like that's not a hobby. At least, if you're us, but you look at Gen Z, like they're all over TikTok doing the beauty tutorials and following all the makeup influencers. This is a fabulous time to be in the beauty school business with this up and coming generation. I am truly excited about the type of talent we're going to be able to recruit because of the trends. Let's talk about a big concern still with Gen Z in school, and that's student loan debt. So a lot of them grew up with millennial siblings and hearing about the student loan debt crisis. And so a lot of stats do show that, y'all remember this back in the day, like people they didn't know what a student loan was. They were just like, cool, like I'm going to take it out. They didn't even think about anything about paying it back. It wasn't until 10 years later that they realized, holy crap, I ruined my life. I went to school for 7 years and I lived on campus and I took out all this money. Like people weren't really thinking about that. But today, this new generation, they know all about it.
Yeah.
So why is this good for beauty schools, Ashley?
Why don't you tell us, Jen? Why is this so great for beauty school?
Beauty school is short. It's 6 months to a year, depending on the program. You aren't taking out loans for 4 to 7 years. You don't have to live on campus. You don't have all the textbooks that cost so much money. It is a fraction of the cost of a 4-year school. This is such great news for us. And if I'm a marketing director, I'm creating collateral that show those stats. I know it can sound overwhelming, like, wow, 20 grand is a lot to go to school, but you guys have to keep in mind, these kids have been hearing about people in 80, 90, $100,000 student loan debt. 20 grand doesn't sound like a lot. So
True.
I'm excited about that stat. I think that's great. And sometimes, at least in admissions, you get really scared about that stat. But if they're looking at other colleges, especially 4-year schools, this is good news for us. Another reason why beauty is such a great career for Gen Z is that they can, this is funny, they consider the internet to be the authority on advice and information as opposed to parents and teachers. That's kind of scary that they trust Wikipedia more than a teacher, but also great news, because how many of those kids have parents that are like, you should go to this 4-year school and you can always fall back on this. And teachers are pushing them that same direction, and they are fact checking them, and they're like, Cap, like, that's a lie. I Googled it and I can go to beauty school. You know what I mean? Like, they're looking online. And this is why I tell schools to invest in SEO. It's one of your best investments. If you have content on your website addressing these things, and you are talking about all the careers you can have in this field, how you can be an entrepreneur, how 72% of barbers own their own business, how 46% of stylists own their own business. If you have these stats to back up and they're on your website, this is why SEO is important, because they're going to trust that over what their parents are saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything to add to this before we move on to school culture, Ashley?
No, I think that's great. I think the only thing that I would add to that is obviously having that SEO stuff is so important, and being able to pull data off of that and knowing like, what are they clicking on, where, and I would say the big one too is like, where are my enrollments coming from within our platform too? And I know a lot of other platforms as well, you're able to see like where your enrollments are coming from by zip code. We have a high school report, and all of those things are just so key to know who your audience really is and who you should be going after more, because really being in front of them, and then like you're saying, having that online presence too is huge.
Absolutely. And I know that you can even, get down to the source tracking by campaign. So if you have a Facebook campaign that really is set up toward, let's target kids who are thinking of, 4-year school versus us, you can see how well that campaign does, how many leads it actually brought in with a really great CRM. This is why I tell every school to invest in marketing and a good CRM.
Yes, absolutely. Agreed.
Why don't you share this stat with us and a little information from a school culture side, Ashley?
Sure. So Gen Z is the most ethnically diverse and largest generation in American history. And so it is very interesting because, diversity is so important to Gen Zers. And when I told you, I phoned a friend last night when I called my sister, because it was just interesting. Like, obviously I was with her going through her entire selection of a college campus and all of those things, but I never really did take a step back to ask her, like, how was your admissions process? Like, those are just not conversations we had. And so I was asking her, I'm like, what really was important to you? And the number one thing that was so important to her when she was looking at her campuses and going on tours and just even interacting and looking at social media and stuff like that was seeing the diversity, being able to go on their website or an email campaign or social media and just truly seeing different people and knowing that she'll be exposed to like those different things. And so, I mean, it's just so important within your messaging that you're sending. And I think also including real people in your advertising. Like, I know when we talk to schools about like, what should you be putting out there, like in your emails that you're blasting out, and we say, it's always great to like show events that are going on, like what is happening on within your school, and can you show like live testimonials of people that are true people talking about their experience. And we always do recommend that, because being able to see those diverse backgrounds and how different people have accomplished different things is so important.
I love that you brought that up. I mean, not only are they into diversity, but they're into these social movements. They're, everything from transgender rights to feminism to Black Lives Matter. I read a stat that said 1/3 of Gen Z has a friend with a they, them pronoun. And so this is just important for you to know. And this is not to get on a political, platform, despite what you believe personally. We are just telling you how Gen Z feels, and do they feel included at your school? Does it feel like an environment where they're gonna fit in? That is up to you to create that environment. And that's what Ashley said, everything from the photos on your website to what you're sharing in your emails to when they walk in the door. If you treat that person equally, that stuff is important. And so I think it's time that we also give our reps and our staff diversity training. We make sure they know, and just honestly, customer service, right? Like, not to treat anyone differently and just to be kind to everyone. That kind of stuff is important. So, let's bring it up with our staff. One third of Gen Z, no, 1/3 of Gen Z has a close friend with a they, them pronoun. Just Becky clarifying that, has a close friend or knows someone within their circle. I want to talk about a top concern. This is again a cultural thing for Gen Z. Their top concern. Anyone want to guess? So let's just like type in the chat. When Gen Z is asked, what is the most important social issue to you? What is the most important thing to you? Again, more like social issues, not like, I don't know, how they look every day, but like in the world, what do we think is one of the top issues? Because when you Google it, when you look at the research, it all comes down every single time. This is the number one thing. To me, it would be inflation in the economy, but for whatever reason, they're not looking at that. Yeah, everyone's got it. It's the climate change and sustainability. That is the most important thing to this generation. And so if Gen Z will spend more money on sustainable products compared to any other generation before. They are willing to spend more money on a product. And a millennial will be like, I'll just take the cheaper one. Or maybe not a millennial, but for sure those boomers.
No, that is so true. It always cracks me up because I live in a college town. So we do have a college like right where I am. And it always makes me laugh because I'll be in CVS or, a pharmacy or whatever, and I'm grabbing something off the shelf and I'm doing the millennial thing. I'm like, I want the cheapest, what's the name brand or generic brand. That's what I'm going to get. And there will be a very obvious college kid next to me buying the most expensive, best thing out there. And I'm just like, how are they doing that?
These Gen Zers, and they're all natural deodorant. Ashley, I can't do it.
I know, but it is interesting because you are spot on. I mean, that is so true. And you do see, if you pay attention at stores, if you're looking around you at what people are taking off the shelf when you're buying something, it is very fascinating.
Absolutely. So if you are a school that does a lot of things in this area, number one top of mind to me is always Aveda's. They've always been like this big sustainable brand, but I know there are other schools that do this as well. This used to be something we put on our website and we would mention in small print. This needs to be a giant marketing campaign with this generation because it does matter to them. So whether you're doing fundraising or you're just doing awareness events, anything around the climate change, sustainability, these are really great ways to speak to Gen Z marketing wise, and we need to bring these things up. I suggested in your CRM, like at Lumina, to create an email template that shows the 5 ways our school cares about building a sustainable future, and just share, the daily things you guys do, everything from recycling to buying products with recyclable material, all that stuff. This is stuff that kids care about. And if you do have fundraising events in your school, try to find some organizations that align with those same views. All right, so that's school culture. I want to get in now to actual outreach strategy, things we should say, and how we talk to Gen Z. So I want to share a stat. 43% of Gen Zers would rather talk face-to-face. The reason I'm showing that stat is because I think a lot of people have in their head that this is such a digital generation that, oh my gosh, they don't even want to show up and meet with me. Like they don't want to have a tour. They just want to do everything over text message. It's not true. Half of them would rather talk to you face-to-face. And why do you think that is, Ashley? Do you think they're just so sick of the digital platform that they just crave human interaction? What is it?
I think it's partly that. And I also think it's partly they're making such a big decision. Put yourself in their shoes. You're about to do something that could be the start of the rest of your life when it comes to a career path. I can understand you want to sit down, you want to talk, you want to feel connected with someone, and you want to feel that they're really going to help you accomplish what you're wanting to accomplish. So I think part of it also depends on the kind of conversation. I think some things they would definitely rather do digitally, but yes, they would rather have a face-to-face conversation, I'm sure, when it comes to talking about their future and making sure that this is a right fit for them.
Yeah. So I will say what I say on every single webinar, and you have one goal when you get a lead, and that's to book a tour. That's your goal. And then when they show up at the tour, you have one goal, and that's to get an enrollment. That's really the whole point of an admissions rep. And so I don't care how you get the tour. I'm going to say it again. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you have to do it face to face. I don't care if it's email. I don't care if it's text. I don't care if it's phone. I don't care how you get the tour. The goal is the tour.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk in a minute about some very important things that you need to know about following up and confirmations. But the fact is, tours aren't going anywhere, even schools that try to eliminate them. And people want to meet you face to face. They do. But I do want to talk about texting, because this generation does communicate via text, especially to people they don't know. That's how they talk to each other. And so, Ashley, from a Gen Z perspective, and for sure admissions, why is texting so important, or how have you even been seeing schools shift their admissions practices to more texting?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, with our automated messages, we always encourage schools to send email and text. Just do both until you really figure out exactly what is going to work best for your market. Do both, because texting tends to be the best way to communicate. It's everyone has their phone in their hand right next to them. You get that alert right on your phone. So we always say text until they tell you not to text them. Text them, because it's the best way to reach them. And then if they do want to pick up the phone and call, they have a phone number and they can call right then. There's no work of Googling a phone number. They have that number. But really, texting, I think, is also great because it's convenient. And if they can't take your phone call right then, they can still look at it and they can send a response, even if they're in the middle of a meeting or class or whatever, work, whatever they're doing. They can jump.
Oh, Ashley, pause on that. You just brought up something so good, and I don't even think you realized you said it. It was because what you just described is my biggest ick. Is that a Gen Z phrase? Someone thinking an ick? I think it is. I think it is. This to me is what when admissions does it, I cringe. They've been calling them, they haven't been able to get a hold of them, they text, they finally get a response. And in that admissions rep's head, they're thinking, oh, they're next to their phone. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and call them. Oh, guys, you just killed your soul. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because what Ashley just described is exactly the point of texting. You can get back to someone on your time, and maybe they are in school, maybe they are in a meeting, maybe they're at the grocery store, maybe they're in a Pilates class. Stop calling them. If they're texting you, great.
They're probably doing 5 other things still. I mean, that's, I feel like how the Gen Zers are. I mean, they're texting you, they're watching TV, they're doing they're doing all these things. So yes, I'm glad you paused on that.
No, I think that's a great point. And I mean, to reiterate my personal admission strategies, you always call first. Always. Someone comes into the system, you call. And if they don't answer, you text. That is always what I teach. And you don't text, when can you jump on the phone? Because you know what, your phone call didn't work and they have your number. And if they want to call you back, they'll call you back. But I just love a fresh text that pretty much says maybe what you would have left on the voicemail, which is, I just received your information that you're interested in going to cosmetology school. Great. Tell me more about that. How long have you been thinking about it? Just anything to get a response and to start building rapport, start texting. And if you want to ask them to jump on the phone, or if there's a convenient time, I'm not going to fight you with that. But always call and then text. And stats show that you have a 114%, and this is a Velocify study that they did a couple years ago, increased chance, 114% increased chance of having someone text you back in admissions if you called first. And that's because they're terrified you're going to call again. Okay. Like at the end of the day, there's a missed call. Okay. And then they text you and they go, I better text her back or she's going to call me again.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are pro texting. We love a good text. Also DMs right on social media. That's a big one. That's a big way that people do reach out to schools.
That is so true. And I think including like your social links and all of your marketing campaigns or anything like that is so important. But I will tell you too, I mean, it was kind of cute when my sister was looking at different schools. If a school gave her a follow on Instagram, she was always like, oh my gosh, look at who followed me. And that's just another like buy-in from the, potential student.
Oh, that's cute.
That's school is interested in me. They followed me on social media, or, oh my gosh, they liked my post. And it's just so funny to think like those things actually do matter to Gen
Yeah.
Zs. They want to know that you care and that you are looking at their profile and you actually care and you're responding to their messages.
You're right. That generation is so obsessed with people liking their photos. Like they're
Yes.
obsessed with it. They
Yes.
will delete a photo if it doesn't have like
Yes.
50 likes.
Yes. It's kind of wild, but yes,
It's
it's true.
wild, it's scary. Hide your kids. But yeah, that is that is crazy. And you're right. Follow your potential leads, especially if they've reached out to you. And then on top of that, make sure you have someone responding to those DMs that isn't just like a general robot of like, cool, you want to get in touch with us, contact us here. It would be great if you could have an admissions rep have access to those DMs so that they can communicate. Because a lot of people do just want to communicate over social.
Yeah.
Okay, so another point to bring up when we're talking about outreach strategies is the authenticity. And they love people being real. That is because y'all, they grew up with the phone in their hand. They grew up with everyone being filtered. Have you noticed this trend, Ashley, or anyone else? Go to the comments of like Gen Z uploading photos on Instagram and stuff, and they're like blurry, like they're not good.
Yes. Yes. Do we know what's up with that? Does
I
anyone
think
know what's
it's
up with
trying to
that?
be authentic. I think it's trying to be like, we're not going to be like millennials who aesthetically want everything perfect and I think it's them being like, F you millennials. I really do. I think that's what it is.
Well, you go, Gen Zs. You go.
I love it. And then is your sister on Be Real?
I don't know what Be Real is.
It's that app that they're all on. So once a day,
Shoot.
they'll get an alarm that
Take
goes off
note.
on their phone that says it's time to be real or whatever it says. And you have like a certain amount of time to, yes, SNL had a sketch about this. It's like a real app though, but like you only can post once a day. It's like when the alarm goes off, it's like time to be real. You got to grab your phone and take a photo and it automatically posts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like you can't even like review it. I think it just automatically posts and then it does the front and the back camera. So, if you're like this
Oh my gosh.
and you think you're taking a photo of this, your front face is going to be on it.
That is hilarious.
You have someone who's on it. Oh my gosh. What is it? Am I describing this correctly? Just tell me yes or no. That's wild.
That is crazy. No, I've not heard of this, but I will be following up on Be Real.
Yes, I did describe her. Yeah. So that's or just ask Grace. I'm
going to.
I'm wondering if she's on it, but all the kids are on Be Real now.
So
And so it's funny because they want the authentic, like, I don't care what you look like. I don't care if your hair is a mess. I don't care if your house is a mess, wherever you are, be real.
Right.
They want you to be authentic. Y'all, this means unpopular admissions opinion. Everyone's going to hate me. Stop gatekeeping your content. Stop it. When are your class stores? Oh, that's a great question. How much is tuition? That's a great question. When you come in for your tour, we will go over that. Oh my, stop it.
Yeah.
They want real, authentic answers. If you can't do that, they're going to Google it. They're going to see something else come up. If someone be like, oh my gosh, I chose at school, it's 45 grand, something crazy. Be in charge of your own information. Yeah. Like this is not, that worked maybe with millennials. That definitely worked with the generation before. That is like that is something that would get my husband to an appointment. Oh, they can't tell me. I'm gonna have to drive 2 hours and then they'll tell me. I'd be like, Nick, Google it. What are you?
You are right. The lack of communication is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So just tell them.
Yes.
Just give them the answers.
Yes.
Just have templates built.
Yes.
And so please tell me this. Yes, we will record this. I think it's tomorrow, everyone. It's either later today or tomorrow. You'll get a recording to this webinar. Because this is something that I consistently fight about on LinkedIn with people in person. I love a good debate. I just can't think of any good reason to gatekeep content. Like, it's not the time. So Ashley, Templates are a big thing with Edlumina. Am I correct on that? You can set up texting templates as well, where if someone asks a financial aid question, you can have that text thing ready to go.
Oh yeah, it's great. So within the platform, obviously you can create whatever email templates, texting templates, HTML. You can do video messaging, which I think is so cool. If you want to pick up your phone and record a video and send it.
Do what? That's new.
Yes, we are always adding exciting things. So video
I
messaging
am
is new.
okay, let's pause on that.
Let's
You
pause.
know, I've been talking about that for a year.
Oh, I was waiting for the right time to tell you, Jen, and it's now. We have
It's
it.
right now. I love this. So
Yes.
you can send a video recording to someone of like, oh my gosh, I love that, you know, we just met, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to do your FAFSA, or before you come to your appointment, it can be a video.
It can be a video, which is so cool. And so you can build out any of these templates, text or email, and then you also can set up your automated messaging. And I will say Edlumina does make your automated messaging so simple. Literally, you set it up on your own, you adjust it on your own. We can help you if you need us to, but you do not have to communicate with us to adjust it. But having those different templates and automation set up. So a lead comes in, an email automatically goes out, a text automatically goes out. After your appointment, you have your appointment follow-up template automatically goes out.
I am still stuck on the video.
Huge.
So
yes, the video messaging is super exciting.
Can you text the video, or is it just email right now?
It's texting, and actually we're adding emailing. It should be done by the end of November. So right now it's doing it from your phone, but it will be also being able to do it from your computer.
So it's in the actual, look at me having a side convo. I'm sorry. So it's in the actual text thread. If you've been texting back and forth with a rep in there, the video shows up. It's not, is it like a link to the video?
No, it's like a video. Yeah.
Wow, what a time to be alive.
I know. So yes, you can do your video messaging right there, which is really cool. Follow up, or, you know, anything like that, but being able to really just connect. It's awesome. We're excited about it. Yeah.
Well, you guys just went up a point on my favorite CRM list.
Let's go.
I have 3 CRMs that I love, and y'all are one of them, but you might be number 1 now. Love that. So when we are being authentic, when we're being real, not just in our text messages, which by the way, text messages are a big one, y'all. Yeah. So even if you have text messaging templates set up, I like to make, like, you know, the first letter a lowercase, like something that makes it look very genuine and look like you're texting. Don't have a bunch of mistakes or anything like that. That's embarrassing. Like, you don't want spelling errors everywhere, but you do want it to look like I'm having a conversation with a real person, even if it is an automated message. I think that's really important. Love that. Let's talk a little bit about instant gratification.
Yes. The
attention span of Gen Z is what?
Short. 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
8 seconds. I mean, crazy. And we do talk about this with your templates or whatever you are sending out. I mean, we have some schools, and, you know, you look at their email templates and it's like 5 paragraphs of an email. And I'm like, listen, probably great information that they need to know. They're not reading your 5-paragraph email.
No,
they're not.
You guys, share that in orientation. I swear, like, bullet points are the way to go. I love a bullet point. I love for people to get straight to the point. I love good, concise writing anyway. I think that is a lost art. We just overshare. And quite frankly, we're sharing things that are retention factors and not recruitment factors.
Sure.
And so the difference is, we know students are really, really into like this platform artist that comes every month, or we know that students love this aspect of the curriculum, and we think that'll attract people. We think it'll help recruitment. It doesn't. It helps retention. And so then we start mixing up that with like, oh my goodness, the students love this. We should talk about in our recruitment. Y'all, they've never held shears. They don't know what you're talking about. Quit talking about these guest platform artists. They never heard of them. That's good for retention. We overshare in admissions. We overshare in our email templates because we think it's going to attract someone. Keep it simple. Keep it very simple. Keep it to the point. Here's our quick 5 enrollment. This is the next thing we need from you. Keep it simple.
And I like what you just said about next steps, because that is something we do always talk about, is make sure you are telling them, like, okay, what do they do next? Whether it's going into the student portal and completing their application and having that smooth process, but making sure you are giving next steps, because I do think that they are sitting there, like, they are the achievers, and they want when they're ready, I think they're ready. So
Yeah.
it's like they want to know, like, what can I be doing right here while I'm sitting in bed at 2 a.m. on my phone? How do I move forward? So
Yeah.
next steps are key.
Love that. And then let's talk a little bit more about instant gratification, because sometimes we book tours way too far out.
Mm-hmm.
If you, this is why it's really important, you guys, to make sure your books are like next day to the next day. I mean, we need to make sure we're getting people in as soon as possible. And whenever, even if someone says, if you get on the phone Monday and someone's like, well, I can come in next Thursday, be like, okay, is there any way we can get you in this week? Because, you know, A, B, and C, you come up with whatever it is. I would love admissions to start pushing people to same week for sure within a couple days. They're more likely to show up, first of all. When you look at the stats of the no shows on tours, it's almost always people who book far out. This can be a problem, by the way, for schools that have reps for multi-campuses. So I know of a couple schools that do that, where they have like one rep that works 3 campuses, and they're like, on Monday I'm at this campus, on Tuesday I'm at this campus. That makes it really, really difficult. And so I think it's important that if you're going to have someone booking tours like that, you at least have someone get them in quickly to at least show the school, and then they can have a follow-up appointment to really talk about FAFSA and those next steps. Becky, who's a corporate admissions director, wrote in the chat that 0 to 3 days is the best for show rate. It just is. Like, it's that instant gratification. Stop booking them so far in advance. Same thing with FA appointments. I love a same day FA appointment. So if you haven't figured out how to do that, get with your team and figure out a way to have same day FA appointments. I love if someone can go straight into admissions, you tour the school, then you walk them straight into the financial aid department. That is best case scenario. And it does take homework for them, right? We want them to set up their FSA IDs ahead of time and do their FAFSAs. But you can also do that with, reminders, text messages. Ashley had just said that when someone books an appointment, you can send confirmations. So I love there to be a template about, so excited to meet with you. If you want to expedite your enrollment, the best thing to do right now is go ahead and set up your FSA ID, because you're going to have to do it regardless.
Yeah. And just to touch on that, I think having a good CRM in place is so important with a good student portal, because no matter what you're using, Gen Zs are so used to technology that they want something that they can go in and it's a smooth process. They want to know that you have like a fresh looking platform that they're going in and using, and it's something that is user friendly. And again, though, just something that they can have action items on. So having something for them to go in and have that process, and it is still technology based. I think it's a thing that they like.
I forgot that about you guys, because not every CRM has that. So I don't even think you guys charge extra for that, or maybe you do.
No.
Okay, you don't charge extra.
No, we don't.
Okay. So, and that just means for y'all, like, all your enrollment paperwork, all of your e-signing, everything is done directly on a portal, which is really great for instant gratification. Or sometimes you're having them show up to multiple appointments, but they can upload like their IDs, their high school diploma, everything on their phone. That's amazing. And that just helps expedite enrollment, and you not having to make copies and copies and copies of everything. Love, love, love that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh my goodness, we have 10 minutes left. This isn't, we got to hurry if we're going to get to questions. I want to talk about, when it comes to especially outreach strategies, this last part. Maybe I have a slide, maybe I don't. What do I have? Yes, I do. So in the past 8 years, the depression rate amongst teens 14 to 17 has increased over 60%. I want to talk a little bit about mental health, because if you guys have kids, if you have teens, if you just turn on your television, if you turn on any app, you're going to see that mental health issues are increasingly growing, especially amongst Gen Z, at a very, very fast rate. And I do want to, this isn't just that generation. That's our generation. That's everyone. People are feeling anxious. I know COVID did not help. I know the last couple presidential races did not help. Like, this country can be very divided. It can feel like a really weird time to be alive. And a lot of people are anxious. So when it comes to Gen Z, older Gen Z, so let's talk about 18 to 21-year-olds. These are people who have just graduated high school and just started college. 58% of them feel sad often, like a lot of the time. I mean, you're talking about 60% of the time, or sorry, 60% of them say that they feel sad. 55% have a lack of interest, and 54%, over half of people between 18 and 21, feel anxious. The reason I brought this up is because we are not doing a good job in admissions preparing people for school and even preparing people for an interview. So I did not know there were people like this out there, which apparently is a lot of people, most of my friends. This isn't me, that won't even go to a restaurant unless they look at the menu online ahead of time. Do you do that, Ashley?
I will go, but if I can, I always Google it. I always know what I'm getting beforehand.
Yeah, you know what you're getting. I'm the opposite. I'm like, give me the element of surprise. I just want to show up and I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to see what's on the menu. A lot of people, and I have one of my best friends, Blake, will not go to a restaurant without Google Earthing it to see what the parking situation is.
Oh my gosh. So interesting. You just have
a
to
lot
be
of
so prepared.
I know, but a lot of that comes from anxiety.
Yes.
You're just worried. Like, well, what if I show up and there's nothing I can eat? And what if I go there and I don't know where to park and there's not a parking meter? And what do I do? And what if someone's in the car with me and I'm going to be, y'all, these are things that are going through their head. And just imagine they go on your website. They're already freaking out about going to school. They're already freaking out about a $20,000 loan. They filled out a form. You called them and you're like, great, show up Tuesday. What do you think is happening between Friday and Tuesday? They're freaking out.
Yeah.
And I am so sick of schools beating up admissions reps over no-shows. No-shows today are almost always because of anxiety. I'm telling you, they're going to tell you something else happened, but the anxiety level for them to meet with you is such a big deal. So here's my suggestion. We start sending texts that lower their levels of anxiety. We tell them, hey, Ashley, when you get here, you're going to go into the front desk and you're going to ask for Jen. You're going to take a seat in the waiting room and I'll come out there and meet you. Hey, you can bring anyone to your appointment, a mom, a friend, whatever you want. All you need is this. Before you show up, you know, do your FAFSA. But if you don't, I still want you to come anyway, because I think, you know, I'll be able to answer your questions and show you the school. Tell them about the parking. Even if you have a huge parking lot, tell them that ahead of time. Specifically, you won't have a problem finding a place. We have got to make people feel at ease and comfortable before they even show up. That morning of the appointment, don't give them an out. Don't say, hey, listen, if you want to reschedule, because they're gonna. Don't give people an out. Just say, I can't wait to meet with you later.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing you at
great point, Jen. That is such a great point to add those things in there, because yes, I mean, the anxiety is so real for that generation in particular. And gosh, like you're saying, having those specific facts of like what they need to do, where they need to go, all of the things that is a really great point. I like that.
Well, that's something new I've started adding to my trainings, because I don't feel like people are talking about it. They're just beating up admissions all the time. Like, oh, people are no showing, you know, you suck. And I'm just like, these people are anxious. And this is another reason why I don't like to beat up on people for not showing up. You know, they're worried about it. They're anxious. They don't really know you. And for you to beat someone up for being a no call, no show, just give them another chance. Hey, I still would love to meet with you. I have an opening at 3 tomorrow. Does that work? That's a lot better than I was waiting for you. You didn't show up. FYI, we have an attendance policy. You're not going to be able to do that when you're a student. Like,
yes.
Okay, rant over. Okay, so tour appointments. What else did we talk about? Oh, and just making them feel like they're going to belong.
Yeah.
So, there's a stat that says 48.3. So according to one study, Gen Z scored 48.3%, 48.3 overall on the loneliness scale. They have the highest generation here of lonely people. And so we want to make sure that they feel extremely included in your school. And now let me get on a quick schools. Orientation happens usually the day before, week before. It happens before. It's required by school to have orientation before you start school. We need to be using our orientation to connect the new starts together so that on the first day of school, they're looking forward to seeing people. So icebreakers, team activities, that sort of thing. So they feel like they have a friend before they walk away from your school. Super, super important. Or they're going to no start. That happens a lot with schools. So again, we want orientation to be fun and inclusive. All right, we are running out of time. Ashley, we talked a lot about Sienna, about Illumina and some of the really great features you have. I think you're having, I saw on LinkedIn, a webinar tomorrow.
We are. So yes, if you are interested in one to actually see inside the platform, and Jen, this would be good for you too, because I'm covering all of the new things that have taken place in Illumina since you last saw it. So I will be in there at 1 p.m. and you can register at Sienna.com, and we'll try to put it in the chat there too. But if you go to Sienna.com, go to webinars, you can register. 1 p.m. Eastern is when that webinar will be. And if you can't make it, go ahead and register. I can send you a link so that you can still watch.
Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. I love that you guys are doing so many new things over there. You're always evolving.
Yes.
And another thing I heard from 2 of your customers is that you guys take recommendations all the time. So if there's something that, you know, you didn't like about another CRM, or that you would love to be, you know, added for a new feature, your development team is always looking to change that kind of stuff and add it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay. Thank you all for attending. This has been fun. Ashley, you've been such a great guest. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you so much. And I have to agree, you have your main character. Did I use that right? Main character energy. I'm not sure how to use it in a sentence, but that is you. And I appreciate you having me on. And thank you everyone for watching. And I hope I can connect with you soon.
Love, love, love that. If anyone does have any questions, we have 2 minutes left. Type them in the chat. Or just, you know, say that you like our hair today, you know, whatever you want to type in there. It's just be nice. Can you please put the URL of Ashley's company in the chat? Yeah, go for it, Ash. Perfect.
Yeah.
We will be, everyone who registered for this webinar will get a copy tomorrow. So it'll, you know, you can share it with your team. It'll be a direct link to YouTube. Thank you all for the kind compliments. Please add us both on LinkedIn. We're both extremely active on LinkedIn. We share tips on there all the time. And I always put links to the recordings on there and to upcoming ones. And next month, I'm super stoked. It's going to be with Anthony Civitano, actually, who's now with your company.
Yes, he's our COO, so that's awesome.
Yes. And so we are going to be doing a webinar on asking for referrals without looking desperate. It'll be a really great one. So be looking out for that email and for you guys to register for that. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm not seeing any questions, just lovely comments. So thank you all so much for hyping us up on this Wednesday. Thanks for joining, Ashley.
Yes, thank you. And we'll try to get that link in there. If not, it is just Cyanna.com, CYANNA.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you.